This is the Productive Soul session where we are having a conversation about the three things to master right now to quickly grow revenue and contribute to peace on earth. I know it sounds maybe high and mighty as far as an aspiration, but at the very least, if you're not interested in contributing to peace on the planet, I'm sure you're interested in learning what it is you can master right now to quickly grow revenue or grow your income or thrive with whatever it is going on, right? So let's talk about this episode and what the conversation is. So I want to focus in on becoming an invincible consultant or subject matter expert. So the story was based on an experience that I had where I spoke and worked with a particular client of mine who really opened my eyes to this idea of what it is to be invincible in a economic, unstable, and unpredictable time. And those lessons are what I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit about and how I articulated what I witnessed in his business practice. And so right now you might have some questions, and I don't know if you don't have these questions, you probably should. As in, what would you do if your job called you tomorrow and said, hey, look, we don't need you anymore? Or, hey, look, business is getting a little slow with whatever's going on. Our suppliers who normally come out of the same routes where, the war is happening, they just aren't able to get to us what they need. And therefore we don't, we're going to have to either cut your hours or sooner or later reduce your pay, right? You got to have answers to these questions. And if you're a consultant, you've got your version of, what if my clients stop paying? What if my clients don't, can't afford me anymore? What am I going to do? How do I pivot, off of my current situation and still grow? And so the purpose of this is for you to be able to answer for yourself, how do I keep my income steady or revenue steady or secure during a disrupted job market, right? And I just really think overall, it's not just about a disrupted job market, it's instability in the world or an unstable disrupted economy. But my question to you is, what would you prefer, right? If you had an option between the following two, which of these two would you prefer? Would you prefer job security or would you prefer income security? Okay, very serious questions to ask. And if you picked income security, good job. Right? Because what you need is not necessarily a job. You need income, right? There's a lot of people who aren't quote unquote working, but they have income. Something's coming in, whether it's from passive residual income situations or, maybe they inherited some money. But the bottom line is they have income or they have interest, dividends, so on and so forth that are paying them based on a big pool of a base. Okay. So what you really want is income. And so the disruption in America's job market, right? And of course, naturally, that's a function of disruption in the business world as well, is that, there's an instability for the worker, right? In other words, insufficient or unpredictable income to maintain standards of living. This is the real issue. So to give you an idea of who got impacted, I think this is sometime last year or the year before, these were some of the business that were heavily impacted, right? You got event planners in automotive industry, beauty industry, retail industry was hit, restaurants were hit hard. And then there's this sort of combination of miscellaneous, which is always a little bit of a mystery, but it's like almost like the catch-all, right? That everybody got touched by this whole situation, okay? And here are the occupations that got most affected. Okay, so if you are a service worker, arts, business, of course, as a business owner, you got hit in whatever way you got hit. Construction, salesperson. I mean, this feels like, is there anybody that's not covered on here? Right? This is like catches everybody. So if you think that, this ain't going to touch you in some way, shape, or form, it is. Okay, it just is how it is going to impact you. So here's 3 disruptive impacts, right, that you can count on. Layoffs, no question about that. A layoff is a disruptive experience. The next thing you also want to be aware of, the other impact is reduced hours. For some people, their hours have been cut. If you didn't get your hours cut between 2020 and now, depending again what industry you're in, it's only a matter of time before whatever's going on now, right? Back then it was the pandemic. Now it's the war. Now it's going to be another something, right? That's another impact, okay? So then the other thing, last and not least, is reduced pay. These are the three things you are going to have to face. Now, if you're on the client or consultant side, there are clients that used to pay you based on the income that they used to get. So when they don't have that income, guess what? They can't pay you. When they have reduced hours, guess what? They can't pay you. Right? And then when you have reduced pay, you can't pay you. All right. So what is your income security strategy as a business owner, right? Or as an employee, if that's in your if that's the category that you're in? Well, here's what most people are going to try to do. Okay. They're going to try to, after being laid off, they're going to go on a job search, right? They're going to try to pivot. Sometimes they'll go back to school to pick out a new career or get new certifications, which can be problematic depending on, how much time that takes and how much it's going to cost you to get there. Okay. If you have reduced hours, the other thing you're going to have to face is a lower standard of living. That means you're going to spend less, eat less, live less, look for work. In some cases, you might even consider 2 or more jobs. You're going to try to Uber or DoorDash or, go back to school, right? These are the things that people are going to try to do when they get into the survival mode. And last but not least, reduce pay. That third category of the disruption is you're going to have a lower standard of living, period. Right? That means you're going to, again, spend less, eat less, live less, look for work, consider 2 more jobs, and of course, Uber, DoorDash, back to school, or whatever version or variation or combination of that, right? You don't want to be in these situations. You want to be proactive, right? You want to be thinking right now, if you're not in these situations, if you haven't been laid off, if you don't have reduced hours, if you don't have reduced pay, the illusion of that's not going to happen to you is just, as I said, it's an illusion, and you want to be prepared. You don't want to have to be reacting to, oh man, I thought that would never happen to me. Okay. Going through this process of these combination of outcomes, or if you're in the middle of it, it's ridiculously stressful. I have been there. I know what it's like. And if you're still employed and you feel like, oh man, I'm good, I still got my job, you're nervous. And if you're not nervous, you should be nervous, because all it takes, unless you've got, for my last reference point, unless you got 15 months worth of reserves, you should be nervous, right? So your job or industry could be the next that's disrupted. It's as simple as that, right? And unless you know how to consistently generate a certain amount of income or revenue passively, right, because of what you do or what you offer being in such high demand, you need to be nervous. You need to be concerned, all right, about what your income strategy or revenue strategy is going to be. I call it the income security strategy, really, but that's the name of the game. Okay, so let's talk about it. So you want to be able to match or exceed your lost or current income with your, watch this, your intellectual capital. What do I mean by intellectual capital? So you want to leverage superior applied knowledge, which I refer to as intellectual capital, from your field of experience and become the subject matter expert and consult other people, right? So if you're in the IT field or some part of the IT field, or even healthcare field, and you name it, right? There is something that you have a certain particular special insider knowledge about that you can actually teach, coach, train, or empower other people to have. That is worth something in the marketplace. People still need your specific set of skills and knowledge, but they may not find it as easily as they used to. They may not necessarily know what keywords to be looking for or how to find someone who does that one thing that they need you to do. And your knowledge, skill, insights are still in demand despite the layoffs sometimes in other industries. This is the tricky part, because in other industries, people need you. So you got to find a way to create consistent income with the intellectual capital based contributions you've made to other industries. So that means finding clients who need your help, creating high value resources, right? Whether it's in a PDF, a webinar, a training, and charge for access to you and your specialty, and or a community that you've built. I have seen this done. I am in the process of pulling it together as well. And I think you should be doing the same thing too. So my goal is I want you to be invincible and I want you to win, period. No other options. It's not about you doing kind of so-so, you kind of doing okay. No, I actually want you to genuinely knock it out the park and win. And so what does that look like? I want you to be ultimately invincible. And so what it looks like is three things. One, you got to really be a subject matter expert or specialist with your intellectual capital. Okay. And you got to know what that is. The other thing you need to know is you got to have an extraordinary handle, right, on customer concerns, which leads to sales. So if you're not a closer, right, this is a tricky part because people hear, closing or selling as something they got to be slimy. No, you've got to be extraordinary at articulating people's problems in a way that they say, damn, I need you. I need your help. Even if they quote unquote can't afford you, they figure out a way to afford you. If they got to borrow credit cards, open a line of credit, or borrow money, they will do that because you've done such a great job of articulating the concerns that they have. The last thing, which is like super critical, is a superior set of marketing skills. Whether you hire somebody who has those marketing skills or you are the person that developed those marketing skills, that is the essential ingredient here in order for you to experience this sense of not being vulnerable and at the effect of what's going on in the world. Okay, so let's take a deeper look at this. In that middle, there's a section where I call the revenue scaling system. This is the part that actually brings it all home. Because you can be a subject matter expert. There's plenty of those. You can be a great closer, someone who articulates people's problems. You can be someone who also has superior marketing skills. But what's going to happen is that you're going to find yourself continuing to work, right? 18-hour days, trying to keep it all together, trying to email everybody, trying to follow up on, do all the email. Follow up with everybody who's sending you DMs, doing all your own email marketing, doing your own Facebook ads. I mean, you're going to be in a situation where you're going to be overwhelmed. And unless you have a scaling system that allows you to sort of pay yourself for not having to do the grunt work and be able to outsource that to someone else or outsource it to a set of systems, you're going to be in trouble, right? You're going to be in some situation where you're going to find yourself overwhelmed and then dismissed by your clientele. So are you, or is your practice invincible? Super, super, super serious question you have to ask. And if it isn't, why not? Why not? Right? And what are you waiting for? Because I'm telling you, sooner or later, you are going to drown in the information or the confusion or the overwhelm or the disruption or whatever it is that's going on in the world, and you are going to not be around. And when I say not be around, I'm not saying you're going to die. I'm just saying you're not going to be around in that industry or in that field for someone to be able to identify and get help. And so the question I have for you is, would you like help with figuring this stuff out? Right? Would you like help with understanding how to position yourself as a subject matter expert? Would you like help with figuring out how to really educate your clientele in a way that makes it a no-brainer for them to work with you? Would you like help with creating some marketing systems, very simple marketing approaches that can allow you to then be in a position to have that revenue scaling system, right? Because if you do need help, again, here's the three categories that I can help you with, right? And most of all, the favorite part that I have in this is this revenue scaling part. It's really also an income scaling situation too, right? Because if your revenue grows, your income should grow too, as well. So again, I ask you, is your practice invincible? And if it's not, I'm going to give you a gift, right? Because at least you can't say I didn't tell you so. And this particular PDF resource that I created is called the #1 Pandemic Career Move Contract Professionals Must Make Now. So if you're a contract professional, and again, that's another slice of the employment market. There's some things you really need to be thinking about. And some of it is going to be, reiterate what I've already shared with you right now. Okay. And I think you should have it, because I just have to have my conscience clear and make sure that you have a resource that you can benefit from, and that you haven't come all this far only for me to just sort of like dismiss you and not give you some resources to think through and to work through. There's a video that's also linked in to that document that you're also going to get a chance to watch, which is sort of like almost like a visual version of that PDF. And again, it's the #1 Pandemic Career Move Contract Professionals Must Make Now. Okay, so that's all for you. And that's what you have available to you below this video somewhere, depending on where you get it. Or if you're just checking out an audio version of it, you can also look in the description section and grab access to the resource. So I want you to schedule a strategy session. If you are someone who recognizes that this is something that's intriguing, interesting, and that you need to take action with. So you can head over to the website here, as you see on the screen, and make that happen. And then just apply to see if this is a good fit for you. For those of you who are looking on the screen now, you see apply.stresslessmorerevenue.com, and that should, get you in the right position so that you can stress less and be in a position to earn more revenue and secure your revenue, secure your income during turbulent times. All right, so that's it. I want to thank you for checking this out, and I can't wait to work with you guys. I know some of you guys are hungry, looking forward to like really positioning yourself and fortifying yourself financially and even, of course, spiritually and emotionally to be able to really ride this time out. It is a delight for me to be able to really like jump in the trenches and work with people like that who just really are coachable, right? That's a critical thing. If you're not someone who is really open to getting guided, to getting coached, this won't work for you. But if you are all ears and have an open heart and open mind to really put this into practice, you come to the right place. So apply. And again, I will review your application to just make sure that this is a good fit for you so that we don't waste each other's time and that it's, a really productive conversation. So that's it. And I look forward to talking to you soon. All right, take care.